Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to PSGL F2. We are here live from the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. Welcome along ladies and gentlemen. Bit of a delay in the stream tonight, folks. We do hope it's all running okay for you now. We are here for PSGL F2. It's round number 4 of the championship, and it is bound to be a good one. We are live in qualifying with 15 minutes and 41 seconds to go. Just getting started now. You can see on board with FVRX is unfortunately already invalidated this one, but we will jump ship fairly quickly to Noah, currently on a run 41.653 in the first sector. If you're just joining us, hello and welcome. My name is Evan Dalton and I'm alone this evening, and Noah's going to be feeling fairly alone after that spin. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a moment for Noah. Already on his opening lap, we'll jump to his teammate Volakongan, currently heading through the hairpin of turn number 10. I'm thinking it's over the Williams actually in front of him, so he's starting to get a bit of a run. Ian already out of the session, not too sure if he's qualifying down or whether that was an early collision, but Ian will play for the time to qualify. Here comes Volakongan into towards that famous final chicane of 13 and 14, heading past the Quebec wall. Here comes Volakongan with the first lap on the board in his qualifying session. It'll be a 1:10.012 for the Hassman. Steph on a run, one of the top dogs here in the championship. This is going to be a good season for him if he can keep up this form. Dino with a 1:09.831 Footspab, and then goes into second place as he Footspab goes into third place. Apologies there. He goes into third place. Bit off the pace for Footspab, however he will be looking to get back on the pace. We're on board with Newt now, looking at Aries as well. Lots of runs going in the early part of the session. Here is Devon heading through the final one. Let's have a listen with the Red Bull. Stefano goes to the top. Good lap from Stefano. Here's Devon across the line. He's going to go third place just behind Dino. 1:09.984 for Devon. Not a bad lap as Steph goes to sixth on the medium compound of tyres. It really just goes to show you how good this guy truly is. An excellent driver for him. Look at Newt now and validating his run. That's poor from Newt here. He's probably quite a good driver in qualifying, is Newt. Too well here in the early parts of qualifying in Montreal. Let's take a look at Aries, as I believe he's running now towards turn 13 and 14. There goes Fede to the top, 1:09.590 for him. Here comes the McLaren of Aries, rounding the final corner. Really difficult one in the Grand Prix, difficult one in qualifying. But Aries navigating it well across the line. He's going to go fifth position for McLaren. Nobody touching that lap of Fede so far. That's a great run from him. Namsko, he's on a run. What can he do as Axa unfortunately leaves the session? Here comes Namsko to the line. It's going to be P3 for the Mercedes. Teammates with a rocket for this evening, and Namsko goes to P3. A 10.5 off pole position for the Mercedes. It's not a bad job there as we head now towards one of the slower parts of qualifying. Already on Noah to go on a run, and one thing I know from Noah's qualifying session, normally runs a little bit out of sync with everybody else. It's something that Haskell quite likes to do. As here comes Noah heading down towards turn number 1, tricky braking zone. You want to kind of hook in a little bit on the curb and then tap the curb there on the right hand side as well. Short circuit of the fourth gear, now under Fanatec sponsored bridge in towards turn 3 and 4. So that's a wrap up. Got a few moments of this corner, some validation from Noah there, unfortunately. And the Hassman has backed out of his qualifying run. Session dying down just a little bit as Ference, I believe, he is on. Is he on a headlamp? Is that a run? I believe Ference is on a run here, so we'll stick on board with Ference here for AlphaTauri. Not too shabby of a season so far for Ference. There's been a lot of bright spots as it's 19.5 in the first sector for the AlphaTauri as he heads now down the one of 3 DRS zones here in Montreal. It's a track that likes to promote overtaking. It's a track that likes to think to promote overtaking. Sometimes doesn't. Hopefully tonight it will, as Ference getting right up on the wall. Here is the AlphaTauri heading in towards the tricky hairpin. Felipe Massa making moves in 2008 in his Ferrari. Beautiful car, that one. Going over the curve now, which is technically turn 11, and down in towards turn 12 and onto the Casino Straight here in the circuit real mode. Of course, the first Canadian Grand Prix held at Mosport Park in 1961, but it didn't achieve championship status until 1967. And then it moved over to here pretty swiftly after. He comes Ference across the line. He will go P5. Thank you to Ron for letting me know I need to charge my controller. Yeah, I do need to charge the controller. James, let me know if that is okay. As Dino is going to start another run. The Aston Martin heading now. 10 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in qualifying for the PSGL apologies, round 4 Canadian Grand Prix. Here comes Dino then heading down towards this very difficult right, and you will see a few validations here today. I know one thing that's certainly improved me as a driver is those bigger curbs around Montreal. They make it easier to judge track limits, and the drivers will be using that one this evening. Here comes Dino then heading down one of 3 DRS straights. Of course, no names on a lot of the corners, get right up tight to the wall. There's a bit of a spin for the Aston Martin, and he's gone round. Mitchie goes to 4th place, Dino goes round, and OP Dino not having the best start to this session. Currently 5th place, not a bad run for him. Taking a tip round is Dino, as he's unfortunately dropped to P6 now, as we look at Volakongan, who's starting another run. Real underdog in this championship. It's OP Keen, the new boy on the block, as they're calling him. OP Keen's been promoted from PSGL F4. Of course, me and James didn't get to have a little bit of a gossip before the qualifying session, but OP Keen has been promoted from PSGL F4, and he's looking to make an impact on this championship. Certainly has the capabilities to do so. Back with Volakongan, he's down on his run, and he has. He's given up on this one. Namsko is going to have another attempt as well. Mitchie has completed his run. FER Newth managed to go to 7th. We were looking at an invalidation from him earlier on in the qualifying session, but we're going to see what Newth can do here, entering in towards the second sector. Ooh, it's a second and a half down. This is not going to be a completed run from Newth, I fear, as he is struggling just a little bit maybe with track limits, or not quite on the edge in this qualifying session. We're looking at Aries as well. He was pole position at one point in this qualifying, was the McLaren. Not quite pole position now as he heads through this 3 and 4. Oh, that's a nice line from Aries through turn 3 and 4, and just look how close this field truly is. 0.5 of a second separating the top 14 here in the PSGL F2 Championship. Over the curbs of 6 and 7 and onto this back straight for Shazoo Aries, passing the Ferrari there on the outside, and just look how close they get to the wall there. Oh, just a check in from Aries and over the curve. This is a great run so far from the McLaren under the Rolex sponsorships, and heading in towards turn 11 of Lepingo. He's 2.5 of a second up. This could bump Aries right up there. 2.5 of a second, maybe not a lot in some of the lower championships. However, it is an absolute mammoth amount here in this qualifying session in Canada. Here comes Aries then, heading in towards turn 13 and 14. Just reaching over the 60-second mark. Bounce it through there, bounce it off the wall, and the Aries is going to come towards the line, and the McLaren will see. What can he do? It's going to be P3 on the grid. Definitely lost some time there through the final corner. That was it's a tricky corner at the best of times. Aries made it even more difficult. Looking at Stefano, we'll see what he can do here for Alfa Romeo. Let's listen on board. Oh, validated run from Stefano. Beautiful engine sounds as always from that Alfa Romeo. Let's take a look at Fede. He's just behind Stefano on the circuit. He's down on his run here, Fede. Maybe only starting a lap, of course. That glitch does catch me quite a bit there. You can see on the left-hand side the outlap bit just being removed. Axe is on a run now. We saw him disconnect from the session early on. However, here comes Axe towards the line. See what the Ferrari can do. Can he put it right up in the mixer? No, unfortunately not on this occasion. It's 7/10 exactly of a second off pole position for Axe, and him, Facilio and Arocco are going to want to improve from the back of the grid. Volakongan, is he on a run here? No, he's not. Only starting a run. It's the Haas. We'll stick with the Haas and see what he can do as he's heading around this 4.361 kilometer circuit, 14 corners, with a lap record of a 1:13.078 from Valtteri Bottas in 2019, and that powerful Mercedes. See what Volakongan can do. down in the first sector. Not the ideal run he would have wanted. It's not been the best lap so far for this Hassman. We're going to have to wait and see what he can do. Volakongan gets so close to this outside wall. Look how close this guy is on the curbs. The Norwegian trying to make a huge impact on this PSGL F2 division. That's a better middle sector, 0.025 off. However, there could be improvements in this final sector. We know that final chicane is also difficult. The wall of champions. Who could forget it? We'll see Volakongan then. Heading down towards here. Yellow flags in sector 3 due to the traffic. However, there's 5 minutes and 22 seconds left in qualifying. Breaking for the final corner. Volakongan invalidates on entry, and that's the big fear for these guys. Invalidating on the entry to that corner. It's just an absolutely awful moment. And speaking of awful moments, Fede, that was a close one. And Shazoo Fede, he might need a new chair after that one. That was a really scary slide for the Williams, heading down towards the turn of 10 hairpin of Lepingu. And yeah, you can see he's lost a lot of time with OP Keane backing or starting a run. Noah has just gone 4th on a run, I believe, for Noah. That's a great lap from the Haas, and Youth as well, and Dino starting laps, or Dino in the pits actually. It's Futzbab who is starting a lap just about now, and look at that. Just take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Namsco to the top with a 109.216. That's an unbelievable run. 0.3 of a second on pole position. Namsco. Oh, that is something of beauty there. That is a brilliant run from Namsco around this 14th corner Montreal circuit. That is beautiful for him. Let's see what Steph can do. Steph, current man to beat in PSGL F2. He always sets that lap on the medium compound tyres. So wait and see what he can do. Pole for Stefano, says Fiskas in the chat. Love to see your predictions. Let us know who you think's going to get pole position. Will it be this man? Will it be Shazoo Steph? Will it be Namsco, currently the man on top with 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go? 0.3 of a second improvement from Steph. Needs a bit more. Of course, qualified poorly in Zandvoort. Didn't really make up for it in the race either, so he's going to need a good run here if he wants to take possibly another PSGL F2 win. It would be a crucial one in what's been a fairly tight championship battle so far. A lot of drama surrounding last week's race with Schumacher and different things, and here comes Steph just brushing against that right hand wall of the wall of champions. Is it a champion to be for Steph? It's 6th position, so it won't be pole position to be for Steph as it stands. He's going to have to get back into the pits and get back out for another run. Aroka is currently on the lap as well, improving by about 0.4 of a second. That would boost them off the wooden spoon positions. Of course, OP Ian not setting a lap in this session. However, Aroka currently the slowest runner. Here we go then, 3 minutes to go in qualifying. We're getting into the business end. Aroka just tapping that wall of champions in that Mercedes W13. We see him come towards the line, and it's going to be an improver to 13th, never mind you. And that's certainly where he wants to be with his teammate on pole position. He definitely wants to be up there. And of course, the main driver for Mercedes having a great result last week with Schumacher. Won the race on the circuit. However, due to different penalties, he did not receive points, did Schumacher. Of course, Steph leads the championship by 9 points over Volakongan, and then Aries, and then it is Schumacher, Namsco, Dino, Newt, Facilio, Stefano, Michi, rounding at the top 10. We will have a graphic for you next week, folks. Don't not worry about that. Qualifying just about done. But this is the most important time for drivers to set their qualifying laps, of course. Pole position, not necessarily a crucial one around here. Could have some weather maybe playing into the race as Ferenc pushing on a lap. We'll see what he can do. No, sorry, not pushing on a lap. 2 seconds down for Ferenc, not quite pushing on a lap. Futzbab is teeing up for one here, so we'll see what Futzbab can do maybe on his run. Aroka is looking to get set for a lap. Here comes Futzbab though. He's got to start his run in the Ferrari, heading towards turn number 1, downshifting to 4th gear, just taking that curve on the inside. And now heading in towards the middle sector. A beautiful looking car, the Scuderia Ferrari of 2022, as Aroka retires in the pits. He feels there's no more part for him to play here in this Montreal qualifying. Just look how close he's getting on the limit. Here is Futzbab. These guys have to be on the limit or else it will be down the back of the grid. Lost 0.3 of a second. Feely may back out of that one. Up towards the top, Michi, Fede, Keane, all starting runs. Michi furthest along on this circuit. He shot a bubble and hit the wall as the AlphaTauri. And that AlphaTauri does not want to be in the wall. and Michi there seems to be struggling in this circuit. He's a second and 2/10 down. We'll see what Fede can do. Can he have a better run through this section of track? It looks better already. Fede pulling along the right hand side wall to try and find every little molecule of time around this Canadian circuit. Into the wall goes Fede at the same point as Michi. These guys are really struggling. What about Keane? He navigates it well. The new boy on the block from PSGL F4. We'll see what this Aston Martin can do. He is improving. It's not enough for pole position just now, as we see Namsko starting his qualifying run. Here comes Keane up towards the final sector. It is the longest flat out section on the circuit. This long back straight from turn 10 to turn 13, the most difficult corner on the circuit, arguably. Here he goes through there. It's quite beautiful from Keane. Tags a little bit of the grass as you want to do. Is it going to be pole position on debut for Keane? It's not going to be. It's a huge improvement, but it is not going to be pole position. Namsko not improving on his time. Fede has just gone to third, I believe. That's a great... Noah has gone to fifth. Volakongan has just about started his run. He's just got it in time, so the Haasman will have another story to tell here in qualifying. Newt goes to 7th. Aries, we'll see what he can do. He's invalidated his qualifying run. What about Ference? What can Ference do? Ference has already crossed the line, and we were having a look at a Red Bull. Ference goes to 10th. Stefano improves to P3. Great qualifying from Stefano. Keep an eye on Namsko. Is he improving? Was improving in the second sector split. How is he improving here through the third, in towards 13, in towards 14, and no, it's a snap in the wall, and that's going to be it, surely, for Namsko. Surely there's not more time in this lap, even with a wall tap. No, he's lost a good 3/10 of a second there. Volakongan, pressure is on the Norwegian. Can the Haasman somehow produce a miracle of qualifying? No, he cannot, and it's 9.3 seconds down for Celio through the final corner. He's had a big push through there, and it's a bit too much on the Williams. Unfortunately, he's going to end qualifying, reversing towards the line and into the wall. Qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, here in Montreal, it is Namsko on pole position ahead of OP Keane and OP Stefano. What a great qualifying from the new boy on the block, as I keep calling him. It's Keane in P2 for Aston Martin, replacing Will Murdoch for the season, and that is a great way to make your name so far here in PSGL F2. Namsko OP, say in the comments, I'd have to absolutely agree. Here is your full qualifying results then. From Canada, it is VSR Namsko on pole position with a 109.216 ahead of OP Keane. Stefano in third, followed by Fede in fourth, Michi in fifth, Noah in sixth, followed by Volakongan in 7th. Newt will start 8th, Steph will start 9th, Aries 10th for McLaren ahead of Ference, Dino, Araka, Futzbab, Devon, Axa, Facilio, and Ian not setting a time in qualifying. What an interesting qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. We're now going to go pop for a quick commercial break and have a word from our sponsors, GT Omega. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we take a look at the track. We'll be facing Montreal. It is the circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Canada. Remember, if you would like to check out some GT Omega products, you can use a 5% discount code. That is PSGL. We're going to head back to the pit lane here for the start of the Grand Prix. It is bound to be a good one. You can see the cars on the grid. No formation lap here in PSGL. We'll be cutting straight into the action. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we go racing here in Canada. It's a fantastic start from Namsko. It's an even better one from Keane on the outside. Namsko already covering off the inside and the outside on both occasions. Stefano, big dive on his OP teammate. There's cars backing up into each other here through turn 3. Look at this, 3 wide on the exit in 2 occasions. Fede getting out on top, Noah getting out on top, the Haasman up the inside of the Williams. It's a beautiful overtake from Noah, and Fede and Steph battling here, the 2 Shazoo members, both on a set of the hard compound tyres. This car's going everywhere, as I believe there's a spinner in the background. around. Just take a look at Michi up the inside of Newt. Newt trying to hold it here. It's not going to work out for Volakongan to keep it in there, but Newt has got past Michi. Really good stuff here. You can see the tyres on the left hand side. It's a fairly simple one actually, folks. It's hard compound tyres for absolutely everybody on the grid. Axe's lost out on the start. Dino, I believe, may have lost out on the start. Yes, backwards in the wall for the Aston Martin. Dino has lost out on the start. Namsko is planning on running away with this one clearly. 0.8 of a second already as there's another spinner at the back. Looks like it is Araka, or is it Footsbab maybe who's gone? No, seems like all have managed to get through, and Araka and Footsbab battling with Devon. We'll see at the end of this lap anyways who's into the pits with some damage. Volakongan down 2 spots from the opening start. He is trying to attack Michi to regain those places. That 159 metre run from Paul to turn number 1 proved challenging for a lot of runners, but not Namsko, who leads the race by 0.9 of a second. Axa into the pits. Axa is already out of the Grand Prix, and it was a horrible weekend, or a horrible race weekend for Axa. Started 16th, will finish in 18th, and he won't finish, and that is unfortunate there for Axa. As we see here on lap number 2, Keane losing out to Stefano on the race start. Here's your predicted pit stop strategies. Keane is going to want to probably maybe sit behind Stefano, catch that toe, and then maybe, just maybe, catch him out. Yellow flags there in sector number 2. Who has got, I believe it's Dino, still in the pits, and that is what's caused in the yellow flag in sector number 1. James there saying in the comments, Keane doesn't look out of place at all. Absolutely not. He does not look out of place here. Keane running really well in P3, but just look behind. Steph starting to pressure Fete here, and the Alpine is looking very confident on the Williams racing machine of Fede. Lap 2 of 35 just being completed as we start lap number 3. Make sure to pop a like and subscribe on PSGL if you're enjoying the races. Keane, he's not holding back, is he, folks? 1:12.997 for OP. Keane says the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. The DRS now being enabled here, and we will get DRS in a few laps' time. Here comes Ferentsen trying to attack Aries. This is for the final points placing. A single point for 10th position, but a single point could be crucial. Newt picking up a 3-second time penalty. Is he battling with someone? Newt likes to be very feisty in the opening laps of a Grand Prix. Not a second anyone picking it up himself, as OP Keane is now trying to challenge Stefano for second place. Keane in PSGL F4 was dominating. Believe I heard a statistic from last week. He would have actually been pole position in RT around Zandvoort. Now we know weather conditions came into play and it was absolutely bone dry for us. However, he fits in well. No, we're just trying to defend the tier, of course. PSGL, a very, very, very close league in the top tiers, F1 and F2, separated by merely a few tenths. However, Keane looks like he's always belonged here in PSGL F2, running in P3. This man is fast, attacking his OP teammate Stefano. He's in that outplayed racing team for a reason. Certainly showing it here. Another fastest lap of the race, improving by a few thousandths, but it is an improvement, and it shows the consistency. And this young man really has it. And we'll drop more further to the back for a moment, and we're going to take a look at Ference, who is attacking Aries. However, this DRS train is starting to develop down at the back of the grid. OP Keane still pressurising Stefano. As we see Schumacher joining the session there. I think it might be a little bit late. I don't know about you in the stream. However, I think it might be a tad bit late for Schumacher to join. However, Schumacher, he's going to lose crucial points in the championship. Of course, only a reserve driver at this point of conversation. But still looking really, really challenging. Steph, speaking of challenging, all on the back as Stefano. Hold on a second, there's been a mistake from Namsko. Up the top, there's been a huge mistake from the Mercedes in the race lead, and Stefano's going to possibly look for it here in the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be the inside in towards turn 13. That would be a brave move, and a move more brave than I ever will be. Look at Keane trying to pounce on his outplayed teammate who's being backed up by Namsko. Who does Namsko want to battle more? Will it be Stefano? Will it be Keane? And what can these guys do to try and develop an overtaking opportunity? Just look how close Keane is running to the back of Stefano. The Alfa Romeo and the Aston Martin basically won. We're supposed to remember that Jeremy Clarkson car from Top Gear a few years ago. One driver. I love they can drive at both ends, because that is just how close these two guys are running Here on lap 5 out of 35 of the PSGL Canadian Grand Prix for season 32. 2/10 of a second separate them, as there was another penalty. That was for Steph, who picked up the penalty of the previous lap. Picked it up for track limits, so these guys struggling with track limits really early on, seemingly. I suppose it's a very difficult track as Dino sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's gone for a set of the medium compound of tyres as Dino trying something different. Usually we can see a two-stop around this Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's not the most audacious thing to see. Is look at Keane. Maybe Keane knows we're riding on board with him. He's giving us a bit of a weave there. One of an engineer of OP Keane is he's almost spinning the wall as Keane. Maybe just a tad bit cocky for the young man from PSGL F4, because he almost looked like he was heading for the opposite wall of champions, the one opposite the Quebec wall. Apologies, the one opposite that. He was almost heading for it, and that would have been pretty disastrous. Just getting into the race now. These guys starting to get a little bit comfortable. Being comfortable in the Formula 1 car is never usually a good thing. You always kind of want to be out of place and be attacking, but thankfully this race doesn't look like we're going to reach 2011 Canadian Grand Prix race. It's the longest race in Formula 1 history of 4 hours, 4 minutes and 39 seconds. It took to run from start to finish. Look, I think if I had to solo commentate 4 hours, we might be in for a bit of a difficult session, but it's been a great race so far as Dino sets another fastest lap. OP Keane, he's looking for that move. He's looking to try and find the gaps and the mistakes the other drivers are making. Certainly is going to struggle to do so with two big caliber drivers in front of him. Stefano, however, fancies leading another F2 race. Stefano was very good last season at certain points. We didn't race here in Canada last season, however he did look very good at certain points. Must like this Montreal circuit, as do a lot of drivers actually. It's a circuit a lot of guys like here on this man-made built island. It is a circuit a lot of these guys absolutely love running. Lap 7 of 35 here, and if you're enjoying the action in PSGL F2, make sure to pop a like on the stream. And I don't know about you folks at home, starting to look a little bit dull there in the sky. As an Irishman, I do know when a good patch of rain is on its way, and it's starting to look just that little bit dull. Oh, look at that for a mistake, however. Fede snapping up the rear. He slid, and Steph has snuck his way through, and Fede just making a mistake in the Williams. That's the first real mistake we've seen from this front-running crew. And Fede letting his Shazoo pal through as he's made a bit of a mistake. For anyone interested in the football, we thank you for joining us here in PSGL F2, but if you are interested in football, there's 34 up in the 41st minute, so you're not missing much. So stick with us here in PSGL. Thank you to the 50 of you currently watching. Up the front, still as close as ever. We have not missed much. These guys running in unison up the top of the grid. OP Keane running clearly a more snappy setup because he's making those few errors that could cost him in the long run. Araka picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Will this be the end of the race for Araka? Hopefully not. And yeah, unfortunately I'm proven wrong very quickly there. In terms of pit stops, there's only been a handful of guys who have pulled into the pits. You can see it there. And the only man who's been in is Dino, who has pit twice. He's obviously waiting for some form of safety car to catch back up to the field. Look at Stefano. Stefano just trying to tread the needle that little bit and trying to pressure Namsko into an early mistake. We're on lap 8 of 35 and Namsko's not really been challenged by Stefano in terms of an overtake. Could he be challenged here in towards turn 13? Braking late. And no, it's not going to work out. Noah starting to catch him, and these guys just got to hand it to Noah. Running in a really high position and running really well here is Noah. Of course, Noah currently 14th in the championship, so a P4 result would be a big one for him. As we see Keane just pressuring Stefano a little bit more, kind of letting Stefano do his own thing here. We see them head. Keane once again gets really close in this sector. Something I've noticed, gets really close in this sector. However, burning a lot of battery. Stefano, quite comfortable here in terms of ERS management. 30% for the Alfa Romeo. Namsco 17%. Youth as well. Youth running well here in 7th. FPR Youth, of course, had a couple of great results last season. If you watched the F2 Championship last season, had some good races. Belgium, a noticeable one. He ran well there. He ran well in Brazil as well. It's not been as promising a season for Youth so far. However, we do hope we'll be able to recover. And Volakonkin, 87%, just managing his battery at this point in the Grand Prix. Back up the front, there's not many battles on the circuit at the moment as Fede trying to regain some lost ground he had from that snap of oversteer. But look at this battle for the lead. Stefano, actually, speaking of battle, Stefano throwing the long way around the outside on Namsco. This will be an unbelievable move, he can pull it off. He's actually going to be caught out by Keane here. Stefano still looking up the inside, in towards turn number 3, late braking. Not late enough, and Namsco is going to hold the race lead here on lap number 10. Stefano, he's hunting him down for it. However, he could become vulnerable to the 2 men behind him. Keane and Noah both looking to make a name for themselves. Noah runs really wide. Steph is trying. Oh, look at this, Stefano with the wall above. Stefano's got the power down way too early, and the Alfa Romeo has spun it round. There is now only 2 at the top. It's Keane and Namsco. Stefano has made a very rare mistake, and it's a very hectic Grand Prix. Almost saw a mistake from Noah, who ran wide. He ran wide and finds himself on a podium position. Unbelievable stuff here on lap 10 of the Grand Prix. Keane now has to catch 9/10 of a second. Looks like Namsco's taking this opportunity to try and run away with it. It will be a good time to do so as Youth still pressuring back here. But wow, what a hectic lap that was. We should start to see some pitters soon. I imagine we'll be going for the medium compactor tyres, but anybody trying a 2-stop may see can they get it sorted. 2-stop, usually a traditional call around this Montreal circuit. However, these guys don't seem to be going for it. Keane caught back up this deficit as Stefano into the pits after that spin. Must have had damage. As we see here, we're just coming to a bit of a stalemate in the Grand Prix, but you saw how quick the action can happen. You saw how quick things can change here in PSGL. Noah has dropped out of the DRS of Keane, and it seems like Noah does not have the original pace. He was just keeping with it because they were at a bit of a stalemate. What's a break? And Dino has unfortunately retired from the session. One Aston Martin running second, one retiring as Ferrari, Mercedes and Aston Martin all losing a car. Steph pressuring Noah. Noah has no DRS, and the batteries on these guys are really starting to suffer. They are really in the wrong end. You always want your battery being high. You want a lot of DRS at your disposal. These guys really don't have that option, and you can see it. You can see they're not pressuring moves. Volakonkin, however, Volakonkin and Aries, well, they're polar opposites to the rest of the field because they have a full tank. They're not actually using any. They have a full tank, and the ERS is very difficult to manage. But those guys doing absolutely excellent job as Steph still hounding the back of Noah in the early stages of the PSGL F2 Canadian Grand Prix. Comment there on the stream saying, did Keane touch Stefano at the back? We didn't actually quite catch it. I certainly didn't catch it. I'm not too sure if there was a good view of it on the stream. However, we were looking at another battle. We were looking at this battle. We're currently on board with Noah and Steph. If Keane did tap the back of Stefano around, we may potentially see a penalty for the PSGL F4 promotee. As he's here in the top division, performing excellently well. Seeing him get a penalty for an unfortunate collision would be awful. Noah picking up a 3-second time penalty, however, it's brought him back in the DRS window, so I suppose it's a good but bad result to that corner for Noah. 0.4 of a second separate Noah and Steph. And it's turning out to be a really good race, this one, folks. We're in for a good one. Let me know your thoughts and comments on the stream. Of course, solo commentating is not the easiest job in the world, so I do appreciate you sticking with us here for tonight here in PSGL. Of course, if you want more PSGL action after this one, you can tune in to PSGL F1 at 8 PM with James Head, my usual partner, and Aidan Carter. Two good friends, though, so it'll be a great duo. It'll be a great race, and I do expect that one to be a good one. Of course, brilliant title fight on there in PSGL F1. But back to us here. This race really affecting the championship at this point in time, because Steph currently leads with a 9-point gap over Volakongan, also not having a good races. Speaking of Volakongan, now into the pit lane, himself and Facilio are going to try something different. Volakongan then over Aries, currently running 8th. Then it's Schumacher who's not here, and then it's Namsko who is leading the Grand Prix. So this could be a very interesting one. Yeah, good comment from Roman there. Hope I'm saying that okay. He was only 2/10 off. He was 2/10 off, I think not. Yeah, it was a difficult one. That corner there, which is turn 7, it's a really tricky corner for traction. You do see cars spinning there all the time in the lower tiers, or me at home playing my PlayStation. You do see cars spinning there all the time. It's a tricky corner, and then when you add a load of rain on it, no rain here affecting the race so far in F2, but when you add a load of rain, it becomes even more difficult. Medium compound of tyres for Facilio and Volakongan. They obviously feel they can make the end, as I just saw FDR Ian there running 0% DRS. However, Ian, good recovery run so far. Currently 11th for Alpine, 4th and 11th for Alpine. So it'd be a good points finish if Ian could get one more position. As Devon starting to pressure as another pitter, more pitters in. Steph is in, we have Mitchie in, we have Ferrant in as well. Mitchie staying down, actually, apologies, it was Aries that's come in. Let's take a look at the pit stop here of Shizu Aries. Let's see, fresh medium compound tyres on. You can just see the damage on those hard tyre wear. Pretty tricky around here. However, the medium compound of tyres, these guys want to do longer on them. They normally, it's the other way around. Normally, you see the hard tyres doing the longer stint, and the medium compound of tyres doing the shorter one. However, these guys have gone for a different approach. 2 seconds separate Mitchie and Mute, so this is the real schism in the DRS trains. Mitchie, of course, in the Red Bull sister team of AlphaTauri. Mitchie picking up another 3-second time penalty. Mitchie in the wall, and out of the race goes Mitchie as we're just on board of him. It's a spin. The car is beached on the grass, and will we get a full safety car? This would really affect the course of the Grand Prix if we were to get one now. Looking at the stranded AlphaTauri, the safety team says no, I think we're going to keep running. And it's awful if your name is Namsko, Keen, Noah or Fede, because you would have got yourself a cheeky free pit stop. Namsko in. Keen is going to lead for the first time in his PSGL F2 career. First of many, I imagine. The man from F4 is going to lead a lap here as he crosses the line and leads lap 16. Youth now gone to second. Let's have a look as Namsko exits the pits on a set of the medium compound of tyres. Fede and Noah also going for the medium compound tyres. Going to be behind Namsko, of course, as Ian is into the pits as well. Now, let's take a look. Where is Steph going to come out in relation to Namsko? Of course, if you're coming out of the pits, you do not have to do turn number 1 and 2, and looks like Steph is going to come out just behind Noah. Noah on the colder tyres could find himself under a real bunch of pressure from Steph here as they head through 3 and 4. Just look at the Alpine. He's got the heated tyres. He's got the temperature in them, and heading around the outside, the Alpine is going to try dive down the inside. Goes the championship leader on Noah, the man at 14th of the championship, but putting on a real performance here. Steph round the outside, clean round the outside for the Alpine, and now the two Hasses are going to scrap. Volakongan has a championship to fight for, but Noah will stay in front here on lap number 16. Runs wide over the curve. Volakongan going to get the switch. The two Haas Formula 1 teammates are going at it here in Montreal, but Volakongan, the Norwegian, is going to stay in front at this point, and I feel bad for Noah because he's lost 2 positions there purely due to his colder tyres, his colder rubber, but now Steph can set his sights on Namsko. This will be interesting. Let's see how Keen's pit stop goes. Let's see how OP Keen is going to deal with an overcut attempt. The Aston Martin pulls out of the pits as we see Namsko heading down the start-finish straight. There is Keen exiting the pits, however, the pits side by side with Steph, just like Verstappen and Hamilton were in real Formula 1 this year. Keen on the outside, Steph on the inside, but Steph has the much warmer tyres. Keen kind of closing the door a little bit. Steph tries to switch back. The Alpine's got real scrappy on the last 2 laps, and the Alpine of Steph is fighting for his life here in round number 4 of the PSGL Championship. Keane is going to hold the position now, but the DRS will be activated on the back of that Alpine. Could he run it up the inside and towards 8 and 9? It would be a very unrealistic, as that's foot spab gone off in the background. OP Keane, I think, is going to hold this one for this time, unless Steph can try something up the inside, possibly in towards turn number 10 of Le Pingle. We will wait and see. No, not close enough. Keane is going to be okay, and OP Keane will remain in third. However, he's a job to do if he wants to catch up to the Mercedes of Namsco. I'll take a look at this scrap here. We're 2 wide, we're almost 3 wide on the straight, and Aries practically pushing Newt down the back straight here. Ference trying to get involved in this one. This could go real wrong if someone outbrakes themselves. It has not gone real wrong, and that is through pair bracing from all of them. And it just looks like it's going to be Newt who leads this battle in towards turn number 1. Nobody trying one up the inside at this point. It would be an unsmart move if they were to do it. But now look at Steph hounding the back of Key, and Steph fancies a little bit more, but will he bite off more than he can chew here in this Grand Prix? Entering in towards the middle sector, the gap is 0.2 of a second. Down the back of the field, Ian picking up a 3-second time penalty. He's looking for a move on Devon, who's just out of the pits on the fresher tyres, the German. Traditionally runs well around this Montreal circuit. Normally, his best circuit is the circuit of Memphis in the United States. So we'll see a pickup from form probably in Devon. He's normally a later season kind of guy than the start of the season. However, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see. Speaking of interesting to see, Steph hounding in the back of OP Keane. Let's see, can he go for a move? He is going to go for a move. The Alpine, Steph fancies a move up the inside. The young man versus the new man. And Steph goes up the inside, and the championship leader says, "This is my tier. You are having absolutely none of it." The Alpine is through on OP Keane, and Keane is going to have to just calm down, just settle it down, and attack again once he gets in the DRS. This is letting Namsco run away with this Grand Prix, folks, and that is quite crucial, as Namsco, he would take a huge points haul, but with Steph in second place would definitely keep his championship lead. This phase of pit stops has worked well in the favour of Shazoo Steph. Ference and Aries side by side in towards turn 8. This is a real difficult corner. Is Aries going to try and hang it around the outside? Pushed off the circuit by Ference, and the McLaren's going to come back on the circuit. He's going to come back on the circuit behind Ference. Whether he was entitled to space around the outside, I'm not too sure. Looks for a dive up the inside in towards turn number 10. He is going to try keep it up the inside in towards turn number 10. Whether he was entitled to space there, I'm not overly sure, and I think he may have just been given correct racing room. He was pushed off the circuit, but was alongside into a very difficult corner. He'll argue it. He'll probably send that one to the steward, say it was an illegal overtake by the AlphaTauri Ference, and of course he'll have the final say. Yeah, hi to Mitchie in the comments, who's just popped in saying the car on all hards was so unstable. I wasn't used to this on wheel. Yeah, old hards, really a shocking tyre on this game, and one crucial thing about the old hards is in racing updates, they're kind of upped the wear a little bit, so they're even worse come towards the end of the race. It's something the strategists have picked up on, something the race strategists of course the top esports teams would have them. Not necessarily for this race, folks, but for your Shazoo Racing Championships, your F1 esports, and they would have picked up on the likes of that and adjusted the strategies to be catered towards that way. Of course, who remembers back when there was 4 stops around this Montreal circuit? I'm not sure many do, but back in the 2011 sort of era of Formula 1, great races around here. Of course, 2011 being the famous one, but 2010 will go for them, certainly. Some interesting YouTube videos on it. But back to us here in PSGL F2. Newt just attacking Fede, and it's Shazoo versus F Fiore. Historically feisty a battle, but not so feisty between these two guys. Both absolute gentlemen behind the wheel, and Fede and Newt. They're going to go at it. They're good racers, and they're hard racers, and that's what we love to see here in League Racing. Hard racing is the real order of the hour. But it's just so difficult in these modern Formula 1 cars to really tee up a move around this Quebec circuit, and circuits just like Monaco and Azerbaijan and your Singapores of the world. It's very difficult to tee up a move unless you throw down a patch of rain. couple of the British drivers here. And Irish drivers, there's none here in F2, but in the league. Probably very sick of the rain, and some of the Southern European drivers probably very thankful for it in the hotter climates. However, to the Grand Prix for now, and it's a sunny day here in Canada. Lap 21 out of 35 of the PSGL F2 Canadian Grand Prix. If you are just joining us, welcome along, folks, and welcome to this race. Please pop a like and subscribe to the stream if you'd like to see more PSGL action. Of course, we have some fantastic PC tiers, which PCF2, apologies, runs on Wednesday, with the rest on Thursday, and then we have some more PS tiers on Thursday and Sunday, and then the main PS tiers with us here on a Monday evening. Namsco, of course, leads here in PSGL F2. Not a Canadian home winner. Only one Canadian driver has ever won the Canadian Grand Prix, and that was Gilles Villeneuve, who the circuit is named after. Lance Stroll, though, the current Canadian driver, he scored his first points here in the 50th anniversary of the Canadian Grand Prix, and that was a touching moment. He went on to take his first podium in Azerbaijan, of course, the following week. In his Williams 2017 car, a beautiful cars, the 2017 ones. Let's go down below what your favourite era of Formula 1 cars are, of course. We are at a little bit of a stalemate here in the Grand Prix, I won't lie, but here comes Newt. He's going to try change it, and the German is going to give us a bit of action. DRS and straight past Vettel, who currently has no battery available to be deployed, and heading through the Quebec chicane and the Quebec wall on the right hand side. Newt is well through and sets his sights. The two Hasses side by side once again into turn number one. We said there was a stalemate. There certainly is not. The American team in a neighbouring country both going at it, as Noah is going to keep this position, and Volakongan is finding this awfully difficult to get past his teammate. And whether some team orders do come into play here for Haas, we'll have to wait and see, because of course Volakongan is fighting for the championship. Noah, not necessarily. Noah is currently P14 on 6 points, so he's going to have to make that a little bit more if he wants to maybe challenge for the title. Oh, another penalty for Noah as we speak. It's not what he wants to see, really. He wants to, of course, really challenge for this Grand Prix. It's not working at this point in time. Facilio. Oh, look at this. This is a bit of a train back here for, I believe this is 8th position. These guys are fighting for 7th position. There's Fede in front of Ference, and we're on board with Facilio, and we saw one of Shazoo Williams, apologies, be dispatched by Newt on the previous lap. Will we see Facilio dispatched by Ian? No, we will not on this occasion. However, these guys, surely one of them is bound to break a pretty steady DRS train at this point in time. Heading into turn number one. There's the dive from Ference. There's Ari's on the outside, and the McLaren man is going to keep this one fighting. Up the inside, Ference is just trying to pressure around the outside. This is going to be an awfully difficult move, and he's got to back out of it, and rightly so. It's a clever thing to do, and Ference is going to have to just stick behind Ari's for this moment in time, and a clever thing for Ference there, going side by side into turn number 3 would be it would be pretty brave. Brave is one word. I can think of many others. However, we're looking at Ian and Facilio fighting here, and Ian, big comeback from not setting a time in qualifying. Here comes Ian trying to pressure Facilio. Is it going to be the inside or the outside for Ian? Is he going to have a dive into the hairpin? He is going to have a dive into the hairpin, and down the inside goes Ian. Brakes, trail brakes, lifts off the brake and brake again. It's a classical Senna-esque manoeuvre for Fiore. Ian, however, he's not going to be able to go up the inside. Facilio shuts that door and tells him there's no way. Ian, though, makes his own rules clearly here, and he's going to try possibly go around the outside of the Williams. No, he is not. And Ian, breaks late into the chicane, and across the chicane goes Facilio, and round goes Facilio, and Ian has to dive into the pits, and that's both their races well and truly over here in PSGL F2. That is going to be the end of the day for Ian and both Facilio, and that is the unfortunate thing that can happen in here in Montreal. Facilio retires from the Grand Prix. Ian will most certainly be getting a penalty for it. Speaking of, well, if we go for a rhyming name, Kian, he's got back into DRS of Namsco. Kian looking to make a name for himself here. He's doing it the right way. Braking for turn number 10. Less than 0.8 of a second. Maybe a lap pressure. Tyres are starting to be a key asset on board the Aston Martin. It would be not necessarily substantial around other circuits, however, seems to be a big one here as Keane bumps across his final chicane, and the Dutchman is looking to try and pressure Namsko into a move. If you're just joining us, welcome along to PSGL F2. We are here this evening around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. My name is Evan Dolphin, and I am your solo commentator for this evening. We're heading towards the latter stages of the race. Of course, if you want more PSGL action after this one, you can join the F1 commentary crew of James Head and Aidan Carter. No, Jessica Ball this evening. You can join Aidan Carter and James Head for what will be a thrilling race around this same circuit for the guys who are just slightly above these PSGL F2 prodigies. You can see Tom Roberts, who was in the comments. I can't imagine he's here now as he is currently doing a race. He'll be racing, he'll be challenging for the race win. If you're a fan of the Britain, make sure to head over there. Keane starting to really pressure Namsko. We could be in for a great end to the Grand Prix here. The pace this Dutchman has is absolutely unbelievable in the final stages of this Grand Prix. He's really putting on a show. He is really trying to prove himself in this PSGL F2 Championship. Newt still not able to find a way past the car in front of him. However, it is not Fede in front of him, it is Volakonkin who is in front of the last F1 car that he's got. Going to try and pressure into a move. Ian, after that collision with Vasilios, that's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's a 1:11.503. Is the fastest lap for Ian. Hello to Theodore Matthias in the chat, who's cheering on his fellow Theodore of Volakonkin. 3-second time penalty for Steph. No time penalties up the top. However, here is your time penalties. It is 6 seconds for Steph. It is 6 seconds for Noah. 3 for Newt. 3 for Aries. And both 6 for Ian and Futzbab, who are well adrift of the field at this point in the Grand Prix, so they won't really have too much of an effect on those guys' races. Heading on to lap number 28 out of 35, and Keane is just starting to pressure Namsko. And you think maybe it's because Namsko's saving his ERS, maybe this, maybe that. It's not, it's pure pace from Keane, because Namsko is at an equally bad point in terms of his ERS, and Keane is looking to pressure into a move. Aries gets the job done past Fede, and the two Shazoo boys swap positions. Aries is past the Williams of Fede, and Aries is going to look to possibly attack Newt for P6 in this Grand Prix. Noah's picked up another time penalty. He's going to drop right down the field, unfortunately, here. .28 out of 35. It's not been the best of the races in PSGL history. However, we could be in for a classic finish, because Keane is only 0.5 of a second off the man in front who was. He was a second, he was 2 seconds adrift even. Not too many laps ago. It's been a real proving point for Keane, and he's showing Connor ahead of PSGL. I deserve to be in this F2 Championship. You were right to give me my seat. Look at him gaining on the straight. Not close enough, heading in towards the Quebec chicane. Bouncing through there just like he has all race on a more unstable setup, and trying to pressure Namsko into a move here. Braking for turn number 1. Braking oh so later. Of course, Keane, just look at this, looking for the inside, you snap, oversteers, he tapped the inside of Namsko. It's not going to be a manoeuvre on this lap, unless he has a dive or Namsko makes a mistake. But Keane looking for a debut win, a maiden win here in Formula 1. Oh, not in Formula 1, here in PSGL F2, but in Formula 1, 6 drivers have scored maiden victories around here. Gilles Villeneuve won his first ever F1 race around his home circuit. Thierry Boutsen won in 1989. Jean Alesi in 95. Lewis Hamilton in 2007. Year later, Robert Kubica won in 2008, and then Daniel Ricciardo in 2014. Don't know why I said Kubica as Kubica, but look, we'll leave that for another day. Lap 29 now. And Keane not going to be any closer on this occasion. He's gaining and gaining on the straight, and that DRS is really helping the Aston Martin make his decision on should I go or should I stay? Should Keane go for broke, or should he just hold what he has? This would be a monumental result for the young Dutchman if he was to take a win here. Congan still just holding behind Noah. He will gain 2 positions here on a penalty count for Congan, so it'll be a podium for the Norwegian, which is a good result for him. Very quick driver battling for the championship. But he still has some work to do if he wants to win it. Still a lot of work to do if Congan wants to take a win. OP Keane still pressuring Namsco. This is the real battle on our minds here in PSGL F2. However, Ference is looking for a move on the Williams of Fede. That's an interesting one if he could get past. This is for some of the lower points placings. This is for 8th position. Then Ference will be going for wherever he's no battery. He's not going to gain in a straight line. Namsco just doing enough to defend. Seems like he can keep the Aston Martin at bay towards the end of this Grand Prix. But how desperate will Keane get? Will he try a late braking manoeuvre into turn 10 if Namsco leaves the door open? That's the real talking point here, and that's the real thing Namsco will be considering. He cannot rest yet, that is for sure, in that Mercedes. Let's have a listen on board Keane through sector number 2. Just look how close he gets through turn number 10. The Aston Martin is pressuring Namsco as we head into the final 5 laps of the Grand Prix. AXA Anaroca DNF saying AXA, yeah, it was an unfortunate race for AXA Anaroca, the 2 FVR boys, both being caught up in separate incidents. Keane really gaining on Namsco here though. The VSR man is under severe pressure, however he is absorbing it like a shock absorber here in this Grand Prix. But he just has a bit more work to do because Keane, he's starting to look for that move. Oh, almost making contact. This will be a horrible time for Ian to get damage as Ian is pitted for soft compound tyres for a fastest lap of 10, just dropping back to Newt. He's on the back of the 2 Hasses. It's a real problem if Newt was to get past Congan. Penalty on board Newt though, so Congan still would finish in front. But however, he is going to finish in front of Noah now anyway, so it would be a P5 finish for Newt as it stands. Great result for Newt, who's currently not having too bad a championship. However, he is P7 and he'd like to be that tad bit higher. It's been a 5 points, a 5 points and a 4 points for Newt. He'd like that a little bit more as Noah is not doing himself any favours in what's been the best performance of Noah so far in the F2 championship. It's not even looking like it's going to be a finish in the points for the Hassman. Keane just dropped off a little bit on this lap, and has he just gone too early? Potentially he has, and Keane starting to wilt. But gains back on the DRS, and it looks like Namsco just has enough unless Keane can somehow up his pace and maybe go for a dive into turn number 1. Looks like Namsco has the number on him. Oh, look at this, on board Keane. That is a huge snap and a huge slide, and Keane is starting to struggle on his Aston Martin tyres, on his medium compounded tyres, because Steph is starting to recatch just that little bit, and Keane, he is really pushing this Aston Martin to try and potentially take a maiden win here in the F2 Championship. What a result it would be if he was to take it. Well, I suppose you can't ask for too much. It would be a first win of the season for Namsco as well if he was to take it. Got a podium last time out in the Netherlands. He finished P3, picking up 10 points for the Mercedes team. It was a real battle between himself and Schumacher all Grand Prix. However, he did not finish in that second place. Second place did go to Facilio in the end. The stewards did decide the result for that one, unfortunately. But on to lap 33 out of 35. 0.4 of a second separating them. It's getting really, really close up the top. Keane, he's just using all his ERS. Just nothing left in the tank, I think, for Keane. And I think Namsco could wrap this one up as we're on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. And Keane, he's not really looked like he'd be going from it. Suppose it's very similar to Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen this year. There we go, folks. That will be it. Keane, unfortunately, has picked up a 3-second time penalty. And if Namsco can keep it on the asphalt and keep it even within 3 seconds of the Aston Martin, if Keane does get past, it will be his first race win of the F2 season for Namsco. Of course, around Gilles Villeneuve circuit. It was formerly called the Notre Dame circuit because that is the name of the island. It's a man-made island built for the Olympics. But lap 34 out of 35, and these roaring V6 hybrid Formula 1 cars have been absolutely superb to watch around it once again here in the PSGL F2 Championship. Heading on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Namsco leads it. Keane has a penalty. I think Keane is still going to get the second place finish due to the guys behind him, but he's starting to pressure Namsco. And I suppose if he was to hit Namsco off the road, he'd probably get the win. However, it would be taken away from him from Krypton. Here comes Keane though. He is going to go for broke on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Namsco defends the inside. Keane tries to hold it on the outside, which will become the inside for turn number 2. There's no joy for the Aston Martin, and the Mercedes-man is going to possibly be home and dry unless Keane dives it in towards turn number 4 and turn number 5 and 6, or turn number 6 and 7, apologies, here in this section. Not going to dive to the inside, not close enough, and he's going to have to just keep clean to the end, and Keane will still take a healthy 12 points on his PSGL debut. Go for 16 for the win, 12 for second place, and 10 for third is the point system here in PSGL. But heading in towards turn number 10 of Lepingo for the final time, he's using absolutely everything as Keane, but everything unfortunately still fell short, which is the problem. But it's great experience for the young Dutchman. However, Namsco's gone one better and down the back straight for the final time, the Casino Straight here in Montreal. Apologies for the notification over the timing board. Here we go then, in towards the final chicane for the final time. There's no touch on the wall of champions, but it's a step towards a possible championship and a first win of the season. Namsco wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Keane will come home in second, and Steph will come home to take third. But Vola Kongen will promote himself up to third with Steph in fourth. Newt will take fifth, followed by Fede in sixth. Ferrens will take seventh, followed by Devon in eighth. Aries will take ninth, and then VI or Noah is going to unfortunately drop all the way down to 10th position from 4th. That's awful unfortunate. Stefano, well, unfortunately that's been cost him today. Yeah, good pace, but Stefano will come home 11th. And take a look at this for a final lap battle. Here comes Footspab and Ian. Ian trying around the outside. This could be a crucial position in terms of the made-up championship order, and Ian has got the job done on Footspab on the final lap, and Footspab is going to take the wooden spoon, weave all the way home and in towards the final chicane. Ian, you know, Footspab may get that position back due to a steward's investigation for Ian, but he's weaving across the line, he's spun it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the PSGL Canadian Grand Prix. What a spectacle it was. It wasn't the best race in Grand Prix racing history. However, it was still a good one, nevertheless. I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope you enjoyed this Grand Prix. It was certainly an interesting one. As we're just waiting for the podium to load, and here is Namsco, your Grand Prix winner in Canada. Your full race results for the Canadian Grand Prix here in the PSGL F2 Championship it is VSR Namsko who takes the win from pole position with a race time of 43 minutes 4 seconds, with Keane finishing second on debut. Excellent result for the young Dutchman. Volakongen will finish third ahead of Steph in fourth. It will then be Newt for Red Bull, followed by Fede, Ferrance, Devon, Aris, Noah, Stefano, Futzbab, Ian, and then your non-finishers for today were Fasilo, Michi, Dino, Araka, and Axe. We're going to try to get some folks in for an interview, folks, so do stick around with us here. We will try to get the guys in. As here is your race results for the final 5 seconds. It's Namsko on top, followed by OP Keane, and then it is Volakongen who came in third. As I don't think we'll be able to get the guys in, unfortunately, folks, but that is going to wrap us up here for PSGL. We're not on a break. I just don't have the interviews thing ready, but we do hope you enjoyed here this evening, folks. We're going to leave you with a word from our sponsors. We're going to leave you with a word from GT Omega. You can use PSGL for 5% discount at checkout, and then we'll leave you with our outro. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Do appreciate you sticking with us for the solo commentary for my first time ever using some software like this, so do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for watching, and we'll now leave you with a word from our sponsors, GT Omega.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.